although like you may or may not need it, but you have access to tons of software, tons of paid software, that even though hamisha things are not in your favor, that is also one of the things that will help you stay motivated, because things cannot always be wrong. But yeah, it was not difficult for me to remember it, but I didn't like the experience. It's a tough thing, like you don't understand what's going on.
So Avi, tell me about the interview rounds at Oracle. And did you face any similar situation where they asked you something and you didn't know what to answer?
Okay. So again, it's slightly different from interviews to interviews. Some people have more number, two technical and one HR, and mostly it goes like you have DSA questions in the first one. You have some DSA questions and some technical questions from your CV, and in the last one you have a complete HR round. Sometimes they make it HR plus technical. They have two rounds, and second one round becomes HR plus technical. But okay, for me it was in the standard pattern that I mentioned. So I and to answer your other question about did I not know something, I think it was not like I did not knew it, but yeah, I did ask for hints on one of the questions, I believe on the first round, that was based on DP. I came up with a solution, but it was not the most optimal solution. So I kind of, reached out to him to help me with the optimal solution, and he gave a few hints, and those were enough. So again, that's that's kind of the standard way for you to do it, and it does not, as you can see in my case, did not get me disqualified. So yeah. And the other thing, I think in the HR round, one of the most interesting questions that I got asked straight on the face, when I entered the room, he told me, even before asking me to introduce myself, he told me to ask, tell me something that was not on my resume and why did I not put it there as a coach. So like, let's say maybe it's some extracurricular activity that you thought it was not good enough, या फिर कोई achievement नहीं था, but तुम्हें बस मजा आता है करने में. So again, these are things that you can talk with your interviewer in the HR round, because that kind of shows what kind of person you are, and उससे उनको कंपनी कल्चर से मैच करने का थोड़ा हेल्प मिल जाता है कि इसको लेना है या नहीं लेना है ऐसा. तो या.
And हर round के लिए अलग preparation होगा ना? So how did you prepare for each round? Specifically each round.
Okay. I would say that DSA wala round is again something I mentioned before. It's the standard preparation. You have to be able to solve questions. That's the only thing you have to do in that round. For the second thing, when they look at the technical stuff on your CV, so related to all the projects that you have done, or related to all the tech stack that you have mentioned that you are good at or you're comfortable with, and all the other achievements that you might have made, koi hackathon jeeta ho ya fir, and etc things. So that, I think the best thing to do is to be very thorough, because I can tell from my experience that in some cases the interviewers are a little nosy. So वो एकदम डिटेल में जाके पूछते हैं. जैसे मेरे सीवी में आई हैड दिस प्रोजेक्ट एंड it is still live, it was live back then. So he just opened the website का URL and he went through the entire website and he started asking me questions कि ये वाला पार्ट कैसे implement किया था, या फिर ये कैसे इतने सारे यूजर्स को एक साथ हैंडल कर रहे हैं and all. So that gets pretty scary if you have not prepared beforehand कि प्रोजेक्ट में क्या है, बिकॉज वो हो सकता है 2 साल पहले किया हो एंड यू जस्ट रिमेम्बर कि क्या था प्रोजेक्ट में. And sometimes they can go into the depth of that project because they find it on your resume. So I think one good thing would be to be thorough with all the projects. The second thing would be to go through all that stuff that you have written. ऐसे कि I'm comfortable, let's say I write I'm comfortable in React.js, so I should be able to answer at least the basic questions are in and around React.js, and some tricky questions that are commonly asked in interviews. So that would kind of ensure कि I don't stare blank at the interviewer जब वो पूछे कि ये कैसे हुआ, या फिर what is the meaning of this term या ऐसा कुछ. So yeah, I think those two things you should ensure. And ये वाले चीजें 1 week before the interview is pretty decent enough time prepare करने के लिए. You don't have to keep doing it all the time. इंटरव्यू पता है कि ये होने वाला है, and you know what kind of questions are typically asked in that company. So go through that all and get ready for the round.
Great. So now can you please tell us about the perks that are being a part of Oracle?
Okay. Everything else other than money. You know all the standard software perks, like you have insurances, you have the good office, you have all the food and stuff, gym, ये सब कुछ amenities and all. What if you are referring to anything in particular, I would be able to say, but I think there are some specific things as well. So okay, let me put some highlights so that as a random na lage. So for example, you get there's access to a lot of software, like you get access to an array of software. So right now we are having this meeting on Zoom, and Zoom is also one of our clients. So it uses the OCI. So let's say we never have problems with related to, like we all have Zoom premiums and all these things. And just say you have a lot of creative cloud software. I have the entire Adobe suite with me, which was just given to me as a. So although like you may or may not need it, but you have access to tons of software, tons of paid software that you can use. And other than that, I think the office is pretty good. You have a lot of areas where you can just discuss, hang out, take. I think even my Instagram picture, profile picture is taken in the office itself. It's a pretty beautiful place, the entire office. You have a lot of amenities. So one entire building in my campus is only for gaming. Like you have almost every sort of game over there, football, basketball, whatever you need. And also those indoor games, and you have a very good gym. So yeah, I think all of these are coming under the in-office amenities and in-office perks that you get. Other than that, you have a lot of bills paid off for you, and you have a lot of parties over here that get reimbursed and all that. And I don't know, you have trips and stuff which are a little less because of COVID right now, but yeah, at least that's what my seniors have told me. I haven't been on one so far because of the entire scenario of how India is functioning. But okay,
But and did you receive any like welcome kit
yeah.
the first day or something that was a very nice gesture from the company?
So okay, you want the equipment stuff. I actually got on the day one, I got a laptop, and I think it's one of the highest end MacBooks possible. It's a 32 gigs M1 Pro, and I'm on the meeting on it right now, in fact. And other than that, you get monitors, you get headphones. I got AirPods and stuff. And I think most of whatever is approved by your manager is okay. And manager mostly approves things. There is no constraint on that. And the only reason why I did not highlight these things is because I think it's a pretty standard thing across all software companies.
Must obviously have felt bad. So how did you cope up with that? How did you motivate yourself to keep going?
I think one of the biggest factors for me were my friends. So I would also say this कि college life में please surround yourself with good people who actually help you grow, because otherwise you feel lonely है ऐसा मतलब घर से दूर for many people it's the first time they're going out of their homes and कहीं पे जाके रह रहे हो and it's all alien to you. कुछ प्रोफेसर पढ़ा रहे हैं, you are doing assignments and all, वो process चलता रहेगा background में. You have your own aspirations, कुछ career goals हैं, but it's very likely that you'll get into a situation जहाँ पे you feel low और फिर या फिर demotivated ऐसा. So I had a lot of lows, especially in my first year and second year के third semester में. So I think mostly friends were the ones who supported me. Sometimes in ऐसे मजाक उड़ा के भी हो जाता है. They like कि you can do this and why are you not able to do this? Like ऐसा तो कर ही सकते थे obviously. Sometimes they actually sit with you and they talk to you कि yeah, this has been your way of life so far and these are your goals. So ऐसे ऐसे अगर तू करेगा तो हो जाएगा. So that feels good. And I would say other than that, having the discipline to go ahead with things even though hamisha things are not in your favor, that is also one of the things that will help you stay motivated, because things cannot always be wrong. Like हमेशा कुछ गलत होता ही जा रहा है, ऐसा तो नहीं होगा, कुछ कभी ना कुछ अच्छा ही होगा. So as long as you stick to it, as long as you're putting efforts, there is also a chance that you will start motivating yourself in the long run. So that's, I think, the way.
Since you were talking about friends, mostly ना ऐसे होता है कि मेरा फ्रेंड इंजीनियरिंग कर रहा है तो मैं भी इंजीनियरिंग ही कर लेता हूँ. But what was your reason to choose engineering? Like something that really said कि नहीं मुझे तो engineering ही करनी है.
So the thing is, I mean, I was good at remembering things, but I did not like it. So especially if I talk about myself, when I did biology in my school, it was never difficult for me. Even we have a BT 101, so biotechnology 101 course in IIT in the second semester. So it was like 900 pages of cramming up. So I was never bad at it. Like I got I think 98 out of 100 in that, but it was pretty 97 or 98 something like that. But yeah, it was not difficult for me to remember it, but I didn't like the experience. It's a tough thing. Like you don't understand what's going on, and but ऐसे ही you are just cramming up कि हाँ इसका मतलब ये होता है इस organ से ये होता है. So I think that was the one red flag for me. I knew I could have gone into medical science and I could have done good over there, but I did not want to. So, and the second thing was I was deeply interested in, I think that was the primary reason why I chose engineering. And I was never a lot into research. One thing that scared me thoda sa is like the field of research is not that open. Like there's a lot of internal struggle that goes on. Paper publish karo, citation slow, and all these things. So it's a little difficult, especially if you're not very much into research. ऐसा and you have to be a little protective of your research and ये सब कुछ चीजें. So I didn't want to get into that mess. I think engineering was kind of the best option for me. And yeah, I think once it was set to engineering, I just thought of IIT ki that was the best place to go on, at least in India. So yeah, I just started preparing for JEE. That's the overall story I can say for why I took up engineering and why I took up IIT.
Now that we have spoken about
Yeah.
why you took engineering, also want to know why did you choose Oracle? Because from everything that you've told me, I think you could have gone into any company that you wanted. So why only Oracle?
Initially, one thing that comes up is was the package that they were offering. So again, I would try to divide things into three parts, let's say. So first of all, different domains of companies that come into our campus for placements. You have some purely software engineering oriented companies, some financial technology companies, and you have some startup based companies which are in XYZ uh, industries. And other than that, you also have some quant companies which are pretty new in India, and they are offering like these inflated, not inflated, they're offering these high packages in India. First of all, I was never into the kind of engineering that goes on in the quant and fintech companies because I believe that a lot of their engineering softwares they purchase from the software engineering companies and they just do the other kind of things which is related to their core field. Just if I talk about Goldman Sachs, right? So I have a lot of my friends working there. So unka engineering is more focused towards how to get more money for their clients. So they are running these Python models and they're trying to predict ki market ऊपर जाएगा नीचे जाएगा and they're trying to suggest कि इस जगह invest करो and that's how you'll get your money and stuff. So and lot of their core services, so how they run their company, how they run all this data, they are purchasing it from an external vendor, which is a software vendor, let's say Microsoft, let's say Oracle, or all these things. So a lot of the core engineering goes on in these software companies. Now, in software companies, I would say I got into Oracle as an intern in 2021, and I think one of the primary reasons I liked it was because of the nature of my project and also the culture that I had here. I mean, that I experienced. So, Meko Fieldwork, it was one of the very good places I could be in. And it was not very chill, like, बहुत normal सा नहीं था interview, sorry, the internship process, but it was kind of good, like as a balance. I would say the balance was perfect. So that is something which I really wanted, ऐसा कि that should be in my career at least. And things are a lot transparent, you could talk to your managers freely, ऐसा बहुत ही अच्छा culture था. And I think that is something I am also experiencing right now. You can have people going out to partying with their managers and you can have ऐसे random discussions हो रहे हैं कि back in my young days I used to drink ये and my manager took me out. So all these things where found that it's a pretty good environment to be in. So that's one of my choices. The other thing was that the package that they were offering was pretty lucrative. So I just decided to go ahead with it. And it was, in fact, a little more than almost all the other options that I had in the software engineering domain for the big tech. And some startups were offering pretty high packages, to be honest. But yeah, I just took up the PPO. So I didn't actually sit for placements and interview at those companies. But I think I would not have gone into a startup, even though I had the chance to, because I don't really believe the market is so stable at the current moment as well. Startups are firing in huge numbers, so I would rather stick here at least for the near future. So yeah,
That is one great
I think it
reason.
answered it in a very complete.
Yeah, yeah. Everything has been answered.
Yeah.
Uh, so before we end the interview, I would just want you to give a message
Okay.
to our viewers, to the audience who are about to be engineers, I don't know, who are about to enter into different companies. So what would you like to tell them?
Okay. I don't know. There are a lot of things that you guys should keep in mind, but I think one of the best things that I would say is to communicate. Why I am putting emphasis on this is because I know a lot of people, a lot of students who are joining as engineers, they they know stuff or they can figure out stuff with time. So they know how to work with software, they know how to build projects, they know how to fix bugs. ये चीजें हो जाती है लोगों में, like they either learn it with time or they know it beforehand. But the thing is that a lot of people cannot explain what they have done properly. They cannot talk to people properly. They don't know what are the proper etiquettes to, or maybe the proper ways to actually say or let the higher management know, okay, this is what I have done. So that is something which I believe you should, master it over time. There are a lot of blogs out there, or you can have a lot of podcasts out there where this is emphasized upon कि कैसे करना है ये, because I have a lot of my friends जिनके managers ऐसे सोचते हैं कि they're not working, although those guys are putting in hard efforts every day, every single day, and ऐसे 12 12 घंटे बैठ के काम कर रहे हैं, but their managers don't really think that they are working, because वो स्टैंड अप्स में या फिर ऐसे मीटिंग्स में दे आर नॉट एबल टू एक्सप्लेन कि उन्होंने क्या किया अच्छे से. सो या, आई थिंक दैट्स द की, एंड दैट्स द की इफ यू वांट टू ग्रो एंड इफ यू डोंट वांट टू स्टे इन द सेम प्लेस, because people need to know that you are actually adding value to the company as a resource. So that is the main path for you to grow up the line. ऐसा तो नहीं है कि हमेशा ही इसी पोजीशन में रहना है या फिर प्रोग्रेस नहीं होना, प्रमोशन नहीं होना. सो ये सब चीज़ों के लिए आई थिंक वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट थिंग्स दैट पीपल मिस आउट ऑन इज कम्युनिकेशन. सो या, I would like everyone who is going to be a engineer in the future to have this in them.
Thank you so much, Avi. It was very nice
All
having
right.
you. You are so talented that I was thinking, how can he be so talented and how can he do everything at one time? So thank you for sharing everything that you've shared, your
Okay, I
interviews,
don't
your
know, but
experiences. Yeah.
all right.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us for this interview.
Okay.